So my buddy, he called me up the other day and he said, man, I got an ammo box that'll help you catch 10 times more fish. To which I replied, whatever.
I swear, man, you'll catch way more fish with this ammo box.
So I guess I'm going fishing. Oh, by the way, if this thing works, I'm going to check it out good and I'm going to be building one so that you can build one.
Look at all that bait.
We're right here on it.
Right here on them. That's this right here. We're going to stop it right here.
About to try out our thumper box, see if it works. What the heck? What the heck's that? Your motor's
Motor
busted.
sounds like it's not on it.
That's all it is? I thought it was louder.
Well, I got it buried.
Oh,
I got the beanbag chair over it.
I was louder at the bottom. Make a believer out of me, Spivey.
I'm trying. Someone's following us already.
I see a line. He's following us. He needs some bait. There's another line.
All right, Buff, put your min on.
How you hook him?
Through the lips.
What the heck is that? That perch?
I hope so. They ain't under us right yet, Buff. Huh? Oh, Will.
Oh, you're going down over there.
There's another one.
Yep,
There's
sure
another
enough.
one. Grab that
Here,
thing.
go on.
Hit the ankle.
I'm definitely building me one of these.
I'll make a believer out of you.
Also, how you get down in there?
I got little fingers, man.
That is freaking crazy.
That's not nothing, man.
See our little box down there working? It's just hitting the bottom of the boat, so I was doing. That is freaking crazy.
That's still not.
I know, but there was nothing over here, and you turned that thing on. Look at it,
That
grass.
old man to come back alive.
Look, you can see mine. That's Buff's right there. All right, you see it the line going down? Right here. Right here.
How far am I?
You're right there in the heart of them. You ought to be getting a bite here soon, Buff. Now they're starting to build.
Oh, dang, look at all those fish. I'm gonna have to quit filming and start fishing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, she's starting to build now. You see that?
Look at that crap. Dang, these fish everywhere. Probably done hooked another one.
It's a big hybrid or big perch. Look at that one.
That's a nice perch.
Oh,
Look at that crap. I'm a believer. I am a believer. We gotta build one of these boxes.
I'm telling you, I don't know why it does it, man. How long do you think we've been sitting here?
For like 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. That is crazy. You might be down too low
It's
on
the
this.
big ones are up closer to the top.
What size sinker are you putting on there? A half ounce?
Half ounce, yeah.
You got the Mike Daddy?
Yeah, that's it.
How big is it? Hold up. How big is it? Come on.
pretty big.
You done seen that. It's cheap. That's a nice one.
Dang right.
It's like some fast-paced fishing right here.
I'm telling you, if you got a kid, you can't beat this. Yeah, that's what you like to see. So you see how this is blue? That's not that hard of a turn. Red is pretty hard to turn, and the yellow is the hardest return. So you see how now there's nothing? It's like you'll be off the school, but then you'll get back on the school. Yeah, my cord.
Fucking hog there.
Dang. That's a nice one there. That's like a small hybrid.
Sure enough. Biggest one of the day so far right here.
That's a monster.
I believe that first that I caught was a little bit Small that.
That speed selector switch. I know like people have different opinions about how fast to make your hammer hit, you know?
Yeah.
I want to say that somebody said something about like 90 hits a minute was about where it needed to be, but I can't tell a difference in really where I put it at.
You doing probably 120.
No, 1,000.
You probably doing 2 every second.
2 every second, yeah. The problem that I have with mine is where I put the, where I have the, it's basically a lever and it's spinning and it's lifting the hammer up and just letting it go. And like, I need to move the shaft on the hammer that's where it's hitting it to lift it somewhere, because if I slow it down, it gets it into a bind and it can't keep on turning it around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or I need to shorten that little shaft or something like that.
Yeah.
We can get it out here when we get done fishing. I'll
Both
show you.
over there catching fish.
Oh,
Bobby's catching fish. This box right here will make a believer out of you. That's all I know.
I don't know.
Whose is bigger?
You got some shoulders, that's for sure.
That right there's been that rod pretty good.
Yours is a little bit bigger than mine, I think.
Hey, grabbing. Yeah, look at that.
We done caught quite a few.
You already got somebody.
Hard marks are all right there around 30. Oh, there's a spot. Hey, something followed him all the way up to the top. Look, you can see the fish that I just caught right here. See how I brought him up right here?
Yeah.
And the one that followed him is going back down now. You see it?
Yeah. You ever eat them?
Yeah. They eat pretty good.
They said they're good.
Yeah. Not him, he's about too little. We'll let him get bigger.
That's him. There he goes. He's lively. He's a little. Oh, he ain't too bad, look.
Got a lot of heart though.
Both ain't gonna let you get ahead of him.
You just got sausage fingers, man.
He got them hamburger. He got them hot dog weenies.
All right, here, I'll show you a fishing hack right here, Keith. All right, fishing hack anybody with little hands can go to right here, okay? All right, he swallowed the hook. You recording this?
I'm trying.
All right.
You're moving too much.
He swallowed the hook, okay?
Yeah.
Hold the line tight, hold the fish tight, okay? You gotta figure out which way the hook is pointing, all right? And you want the hook, the barb of the hook to get hung in your nail. Basically slide your finger down the shaft of the hook, keeping the line tight. Hold that line tight. And then once you feel that thing in your finger, pull it out and it's stuck on your nail.
That's cool. But you gotta have little girl fingers.
You gotta have
little girl
You
fingers.
gotta have man hands, all right?
There he is.
He's got 2 on him.
Do you see how like there's no gap? Like it's just like the screen is basically solid red from we're in about 63 foot of water
Yeah.
to 30. It's just solid fish.
Yep. That's what it's supposed to look like.
And that's what it's supposed to look like. Like right now, basically, if you want to catch a fish, drop it to the bottom and wind it up. A couple cranks.
So if it's not solid red, you probably because you're using a Harbor Freight hammer or something like that,
is a
screwed
Harbor
up.
Freight- That is a Harbor Freight hammer.
Never mind.
Ones that that people make and sell, they come with a ball peen. That I'm just using like a hard rubber hammer.
So you got one of those orange dead bugs in
No,
yours?
this one's like a wooden handle with a
Hard rubber mallet.
black
Yeah.
mallet. Yeah.
We got all of our lines out of the water right now. That's crazy how good this thing works. That's Bobby's thumper. This
It needs
thing,
some love, all right.
it works. Hey, it works.
Look, I don't know why. What do you think's making all the staining back here at the washers wearing against one another? You think? See how it's got this stuff right here?
Yeah,
Must be the washers wearing against one another.
it might be.
I chose this ammo box because it's flat on the bottom. All right. A lot of the boxes were like concave,
Yeah,
and I feel like it's sitting on the surface. It has a better like thump to it.
yeah,
Like
it makes sense.
It makes it a little bit better noise when it hits the bottom of the boat.
Probably transfer sound into the boat better too.
Yeah.
Being flat.
I need to put a switch on it too, where right now I just got a pigtail where I just unplug it.
Yeah.
But as soon as I plug it up, it's going. You know what I mean? I need to put a little switch on it.
Where's the conduit clamps?
Right here.
Holding the motor down.
Oh, holds the motor on.
And now Buff was talking about, you was talking about putting a keyway in yours, right? Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to do a drill and tap where I could tighten it down.
Yeah.
And then have an arm that just spins.
Yeah, I welded a bolt to mine, and I just sandwiched it, you know, in between them two nuts.
But that box definitely worked. It did impress me. So we're getting ready to build this one. Okay, so there's 4 main ingredients to the recipe of this DIY. First is an ammo box, and I got the biggest ammo box that Harbor Freight sells. You can use the metal ammo box, you can use the plastic ammo box. I picked this ammo box because it's the biggest one and it'll give me the most room to work with. I mean, there's my hand on it. It's not huge, but it's the biggest one they sell. Next is you're gonna need a hammer, and I'm gonna use a dead blow. If you watched the video and you seen inside my buddy's thumper box, he used a rubber mallet, which is fine. You can use any hammer, I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe not a super heavy sledgehammer, I don't know. I'm gonna show you why I'm using a dead blow. I hope it works. I think it will work. But when you drop a hammer, do you notice that the hammer bounces? It bounces every time that I drop it. And on this build, we want to be able to control the sound of the rhythm. So I got this old dead blow hammer, and dead blow hammers are full of lead shot, I think, or steel shot, but they kind of work like a buffer tube on an AR, like it's got something inside of it, you know. You can hear it shaking. So when it hits, it takes the bounce out. I'm just saying. The next thing we're gonna need is a speed controller. This speed controller came off of Amazon, and it wasn't all that expensive. I don't really remember how much it was because I bought it a while back. But we're going to need to be able to control the speed of how fast the hammer hits, because there's something about the rhythm that attracts the fish. So we're going to need a speed control. And of course, we're going to need a motor drive with our speed controller to pick the hammer up and drop it. I forget what they call this motor, but it's a lot like a windshield wiper. Actually, a lot of people do use windshield wiper motors for this project. Pretty much everything on this box came from Harbor Freight, except for the motor and the speed controller. Those 2 things I found on Amazon. I mean, Harbor Freight might have them, but I don't know. Now, anytime I do a video that has wiring in it, kind of like one of my power station videos that I've done, people always have questions about the wiring and they seem to get confused. Sometimes I think I explain it good, maybe I don't. But the wiring on this video is really simple. So I'm going to show you how to hook it up before I build it, just to make it easy. Now you see right here, it says input. So these 2 screws right here, they are going to come from your battery and input into here. 2 wires from your battery. Over here it says motor. These 2 screws are going to go out to your motor. They're going to go out to the motor. And that's it. I mean, it's that simple. Input, motor. That's all. One last thing though, you see the positive and the negative, that's all you need to pay attention to. This one's positive, this one's negative. Positive, negative. You see what I'm saying? Input, positive, negative, motor, positive, negative. Okay, so I did a little pre-hookup just to show you how this thing's gonna be wired. And like I showed you before, you got your input, positive and negative. You see I got the negative and the positive, and they're running out to my battery. Then you got the motor, positive and negative. They're running over to the motor. Now I'm building this box for my buddy, and you all know my buddy. Somebody done stole their dang trap.
Well, I better say it's on YouTube.
I use DeWalt batteries, and I'm not sponsored by DeWalt. I don't think they're the best or anything. That's just what I got. My buddy, on the other hand, he likes Milwaukee. So I'm using a Milwaukee battery connector. It's run to this little inverter thing, whatever you call it. But it takes an 18-volt battery, which I didn't know this, but I've learned it in the comment section that 20-volt batteries are also 18-volt batteries. But it basically takes 18 volts. It runs it through here, turns it into 12 volts. Then it sends it over to our speed control, which in turn controls how fast our motor turns, and it sends it over to our motor, 12 volts. By no means do you have to use a drill battery on yours. That's just the way I'm building this one. Now what you could do is get you a couple of alligator clips, with a wire. You could wire into the input, then you could hook it to your trolling motor battery, and you could run it off your trolling motor, and you don't have to have an extra battery. Now, as you can see, my alligator clips, they have this inline fuse on them, which is basically to stop from overloading your speed control, because we don't want to burn this thing up. This DeWalt model that I have, it's basically for using DeWalt batteries. It also has an inline fuse on it to protect our speed controller. On the one I'm using, these converters do have protection built into them to keep from overloading circuits and stuff like that. But it still wouldn't be a bad idea to buy you an inline fuse and put it either on this side or this side to keep from overloading your speed controller. This speed controller that I got off of Amazon actually came with an inline fuse with it. So that's kind of telling me it's important. But anyway, we got our battery hooked up, running to our converter that converts it to 12 volts. Then it's running to our input, running out to our motor. There's a little on-off switch built onto this speed controller, and right now it's off, but I'm going to flip it on. And as you can see, our motor's running. Now we can adjust the speed with our speed controller. You see what I mean? We can make it go fast, or we can slow it way down. And that's all the wiring you're going to have to do for this. So it's really, really simple. The hard part's putting it all together. I'm just saying. So the next thing I need to do is cut this hammer down. Because as you can see, if you put it in our box, it's a little bit too long. Plus this big fat end don't need to be on here. So I'll probably cut about 2 inches off this hammer. About that much right there. This hammer is made out of plastic. So I'd like to throw it on my bandsaw and just whack it off real fast. But I'm kind of got this suspicion that they might be steel on the inside of this. Because this is pretty hard plastic. I mean, I don't know. It might be solid plastic. I'm afraid to cut it with my bandsaw and run my blade. So I think I'm just going to play it safe and use a cutoff disc. I knew there was going to be steel in that thing, but I had no idea it's going to be a block of steel that thick. Dang. That's just going to make it a little harder to drill, but it'll work. Okay, so that hole that was up there, I opened it up to a 1/4 inch. Then this hole right here on the back of the hammer, I drilled it 1/4, but then I opened it up just a little bigger than a 1/4 inch because I'm using 1/4 inch bolts. Now on this front hole, I'm gonna use a carriage bolt. I'm thinking it'll lock right in there. Yeah, it kind of clicked and it's not moving at all, so that's good. Now I'm going to put a nut on and tighten it down. Then I got some of this pipe right here. I just went to the hardware and bought a foot of it. It wasn't $2 a foot maybe, but I'm going to cut a piece of this because I want it to be slick, because this is what's going to be picking the hammer up and dropping it. After I get my hose cut to size, I'll put it on and put a lock nut on it, and that'll hold this whole thing together. Now the front of the hammer is ready. This will be the little lever that the motor uses to pick up the hammer and drop it. It's kind of like the one on my buddy's, but it's a little bit different, and it doesn't really matter if it's different as long as it works. So I've got an old piece of cutting board that I had left over from a video. As you can see, it's a used cutting board. It don't matter because I used the bandsaw to cut me out some pieces, and I'm going to use these pieces to kind of make my frame to hold all this with. By the way, you don't have to use a bandsaw. You could use a jigsaw, or you could use a table saw, or a compound miter saw, or whatever kind of saw you got. It's okay. Just something to cut it with. Oh, and by the way I knowed what size pieces I needed, see, I measured the inside of my ammo box. All you really need is the height of it, plus the dimensions of the inside of the bottom of your ammo box. You know what I'm saying? Now, after I got all the pieces cut out using the cutting board, then I tapped some holes in the cutting board. I made a countersink so the screws wouldn't stick out. And I used these little screws right here. They look like wood screws or self-tapping screws, I guess you would call them. I don't know. But I used those screws to put all my pieces together. And when I was done, this is what you have. It's like a two-sided box. This is cut off because I really don't need all that. This is just basically to brace this thing up, make it strong, and it is strong. That's the thing I like about using cutting board. They're pretty solid, but like I said, you can use plywood if you want to. That's up to you. And look at this. It fits inside our box. It's not super tight. It don't have to be super tight. We just need something to support the hammer and the motor and all that stuff. Plus, the way we made it, we can build it all out here and then drop it in our box when we're done. And that'll make things a whole lot easier. Now on my buddy's box, he had like a bracket holding his hammer to the bottom. That's why he didn't have these walls right here. The ones they sell online use these walls. So I was gonna build it like that because that gives you two different ways you can do this. There's not an exact way, you know, as long as it works. Kind of like the way he had a bracket holding his hammer in the bottom of his box. I actually thought about taking a piece of this square tube and cut me like 1 inch off, then cut one of the sides out of it, and you could make a U-shaped bracket and do the same thing. But I decided to build walls on this one and show you another way you can mount it. The easiest way to do this is exactly the way I'm doing it. If you look under it, my drill bit's holding it up off the bottom just a little bit. The drill's flat on the table, so it's going to drill a nice like horizontal hole. Then really all you have to do is drill your hole straight through just like that. After you get your hole drilled, I put another bolt through it. This is a 3-inch bolt. You probably could get away with the 2.5-inch bolt. I just run it through the back side of the hole. I put a couple washers on it and I put a nut on it. Next, what we want to do is put about 4 or 5 more nuts on it. Okay, so I ended up using one nut to hold the bolt on and to space the hammer. Because I was thinking the hammer needed to be spaced out farther, but actually it don't need to be out that far. I mean, it needs to be closer to the wall. Because don't forget, we still got to get a motor on this thing, get all this working. But like I said, I used one nut to hold the bolt on and it spaces out the hammer perfect. I put some washers on it. Then this next nut I put on, if you can see that lip, this is a nylon lock nut. And the reason I used it was because it's not going to back off real easy from it moving. And of course, I put a couple of jam nuts just to hold everything tight. But this hammer does not move. You see what I mean? There's not any play in it. I got it nice and tight, but it still picks up really easy. And that's basically what we want. Next thing we're going to be doing is installing this motor. The way this motor comes, it just has a shaft and it's got a flat side. So you can install something with a set screw on it. This is nothing but a piece of gas pipe. You know, you can buy this gas pipe at pretty much any hardware. All you really need to do is cut the threads off of it and just use the pipe. Make sure you have the right size inside diameter. You'll need to measure your motor to know the right size inside diameter. First, you drill a hole in one side of it just like that right there. But on the opposite end of your set screw hole, I just took a tap and I tapped it out because it already has a hole, and I tapped it out to fit a bolt that I have. You see the threads inside of it, and the set screw hole needs to be tapped out as well. Now you've probably seen these before. They're called insulated clamps, and they're for like putting wire on the wall or whatever. The reason they're insulated is they have this piece of rubber on it, but the rubber comes off really easy. If you take the rubber off of this thing, you can straighten it out. It's pretty easy to straighten out with your hands, but if you want it really flat, use a hammer. I took and I cut this thing off to the length that I needed. Now the length that you need is going to be determined by how much you shim your motor, and we'll talk about that in a second. This one that I have is like 3/4 of an inch long now. The where I started, it was that long. Now it's like 3/4 of an inch. You may also notice that I drilled a hole out. Because the bolt size that I'm using, it has to be able to go through that hole. After I got everything threaded and my little bracket that I made from my clamp, and I screwed it on the end of the pipe, which turned out really good. And I found me a set screw and stuck it in there. As you can see, I used Loctite on these, just a regular old blue Loctite. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I'm just hoping that maybe it won't back out on me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I cut me out some of these blocks. I actually cut out 2. And I'm going to have to mount these 2 blocks. And the way you figure this out, you have to raise this motor up high enough that when the motor is on the downstroke, it ain't going to hit this base right here. So you're going to have to block it up. You know, like shim the motor up so it can turn without hitting this bottom. Because the turning of this bracket is actually what's going to be what lifts the hammer up and down. So I'm going to install 2 of these blocks from my leftover cutting board. So I got these block shims installed. I mean, they're on there pretty dang solid. So now we can install our motor. As you can see, lifts it up high enough to where this bracket, it ain't gonna hit the bottom as it's turning. And you'll see it better once I cut it on. First, before I cut it on, we're gonna have to clamp this motor down somehow. And the only way I could figure to clamp it down, I got a 2-hole pipe strap, you know, like this. I bent the end down flat, and actually it fits over the motor pretty good. So I think if I bolt it through here, then I can tighten the other side down. But there's a little gap under there. You see the gap? So when I pull it down, the motor's just gonna slant like that. So get you a piece of wood or something. I found a piece of aluminum. I can stick the piece of aluminum on the motor and the motor still stays flat. That way when I clamp it down, it can't do that canting thing. I also took one of those pipe straps and cut it and bent it. I'm gonna try to install it right here on the front, and hopefully that'll hold our motor down good and tight. I've got these brackets made where they're pretty tight, but I'm afraid it's going to be loose. So I'm going to put some double-sided tape across the bottom. That'll kind of snug everything up really good. These brackets hold this motor really good. I mean, I'm pleased how good this thing's on there. That little bit of double-sided tape I put in there really snugged everything up. So that was a good idea because, I mean, I cannot budge this thing. Next, I'm going to wire this thing up and we're going to try it out before we finish our build because we're almost done. Okay, so I got this thing hooked up temporarily just so we can test it out. Like I said before, I'll be using a drill battery, but you can use a trolling motor battery or however you want to do it. But the main thing is we want to see if our setup is working right. Like I said, there's a switch right here and you can cut it on and off with it. So I'm just going to cut it on. It's working. You can slow it way down or you can speed it up. Now I want to give you another little tip just in case you mess up on your build because it's really easy to mess up. Let's say you build it, put your shaft over here, but your motor turns this way instead of the way mine's turning. So it's just going to go down and hit the hammer and stop. Well, a little trick you can do is most motors, let's just say you wire them up right and they turn counterclockwise. Well, if you reverse the wires, they'll turn clockwise or switch directions. And the largest majority of motors, that won't hurt them. They might be a few that hurts to wire up backwards, but I don't think this one's one right here. So I could wire it up either way, make it turn this way, change the wiring, and make it turn this way. Anyway, now we gotta start putting all this into our ammo box. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is take my battery holder where I plug my battery in, and we're gonna mount it on the outside of the box right here because I don't think there's gonna be room on the inside with everything in it. Since this converter that converts it down to 12 volt, it like comes from the factory hooked up to our battery connector. So I'm gonna cut these 2 wires. I'm gonna drill a hole in my box and run it inside. That way my converter's on the inside and it's protected. And then I have this box, it's like 270 heat shrink connectors. These things make life easy. Like, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just telling you, when you do DIY projects, these make life easy. Let's just say, for instance, like me, I'm using the blue ones. Well, you get a set of these pliers that work with them. Right there, you literally have a blue dot. It shows you which one to use. If we were to use one of the red ones for something, well, we just use the red dot. And the kit comes with these yellow ones too. And of course, there's a yellow dot. And all I'm saying is these make life easy when doing DIYs. I've actually got a lot of DIYs like the power stations that I built and stuff like that. This kit kit comes in handy. So let's cut these wires, drill a hole, stick them in, and then reconnect our converter on the inside. Down there's the bottom of the wire. You see the red and black one? So those wires weren't very long and I won't be able to work with it. So I just added a couple wires, made it longer. I got it tucked through. Now I can put a little silicone on that hole and seal this thing up. I'm gonna mount this converter right over my hammer. I mean, I'm literally gonna mount it right over the hammer. We got enough room that the hammer's not gonna affect that converter. And remember, these connectors are heat shrink tubes. So after you clamp them down good, make sure you take a heat gun or a cigarette lighter or something and shrink the tubing. Then I just tuck my extra wire down back there in the corner. You can put a tie strap on that if you wanted to. But when we're done, if we hook it up like this, all our wires are right here together. And we need all of our wires right there together because that's where they hook up. So we're gonna mount our speed control right here on this wall. And this speed control don't weigh nothing. So instead of trying to screw this thing in, I'm just going to use some double-sided tape on the back and stick it right to the wall. By the way, I am using Gorilla double-sided tape. This stuff is really strong. And people always ask me about questions, how much stuff costs, what I used. It'll always be in the description box under the video. So you can go find exactly what I used without having to leave a comment, but I don't mind if you leave comments. That's not what I'm saying. So now, we finally got it all hooked up. I think it turned out pretty clean. Now we're gonna see how good it works. I got my battery on the side right there. So let's reach in and cut it on. Now the little red light stays on if you leave the switch on, but you can cut this thing off with this switch. If you turn it all the way this way, it just quits working. But as you turn it, it starts. And the faster you turn it, or the faster it'll go. That's pretty cool, but something I noticed, if you look down in this corner, when it hits, it kind of jumps a little bit. It makes me think we need to fasten this build that we did to our ammo box. I thought about putting some plastic epoxy, but then I'll never be able to get it back out if I need to repair something or change something. I think we'll just put some screws through the bottom of the ammo box into our cutting board. That should work. Some of them come all the way through the cutting board, but it's okay. Just make sure that none of them comes through under where your hammer hit. And it really does cut down on the shake. And I really do like the way this thing turned out. After I'd already bought my motor and speed controller, I was looking up the parts list for this video, and I found the same exact motor that comes with a bracket. So you won't have to use no pipe clamps if you get that one. That'll definitely make it a lot easier when you're building it. And I also found windshield wiper motors that come with a little bracket on the end so you don't have to do no tapping and threading, and that could make it easier too. But under the Amazon link in the description box, I'll leave you those choices to make it easier on you. I can't wait to try this thing for myself. I'm kind of excited about it. Anyway, if you like this video, then you probably want to go check out this video, or maybe even this video. I'm serious, go check them out, because this video is over.